Sweet. All right. It's 1 o'clock. You know what that time is. So I actually have no birthday shout outs this week. So I think we can actually get started. What's up, Jim Bro? Oh my God, my trainer's in here. I'm so nervous. I'm not working out today. I apologize. Don't make fun of me. All right, here we go. So, guys, today is the 4th episode of the Durso Dispatch, proudly presented by the Kelly Brush Foundation. I am your host, Greg Durso, and the program director here at the KBF. If you haven't seen any of our last 3 episodes, you can log on to Facebook and check our Facebook page, Kelly Brush Foundation. See those. They're posted there for your viewing pleasure. As you may know, each week I will have a new guest on here. We will get to meet some of our grant recipients and people in the adaptive sports world, and talk about the current scope of their life during this alternate reality, as well as interesting things they have done and continue to do. But most importantly, introduce them to you guys and have them be a great resource for you guys in the future. So I have a real treat for you guys this week. Not one, but 2 guests, if you haven't seen this already. I think they're quite the power couple, and I'm really excited to have them on here. So first, this is kind of an incredible list, is a 5-time Paralympian in 3 sports, basketball, alpine skiing, and canoeing. She's won 3 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and a bronze, and is the first female American to win gold in both the summer and winter games, which is just pretty insane. And she's also an incredible adaptive surfer and is now currently the president of the Women's Sports Foundation, which was started in 1974 by Billie Jean King herself. He, another partner in crime, after suffering a spinal cord injury pursuing a dream to become a professional skier, turned to his financial and community support in his own recovery to act as a catalyst to start and create the High Fives Foundation. He's also quite the motivational speaker, sometimes can have the power to spontaneously have the ability to admire people on site, and also how apropos has held the record for the most high fives in one day. And I think he's an auctioneer as well. I think he can do that, which is pretty impressive. So without further ado, I'd like Alana, Nichols, and Roy Tuscany to join me on here if I can make this happen. Let's see. This is always the scary part, to make this go on. So let's see what I can do here. Let's see. All right. Waiting. Here we go. Yes.
Hey, good morning, Greg.
How's it going? You guys made it.
Yeah, we did. We're kind of like, we have to be in this tiered approach because I've got to have a little bit of a higher perch, because we've got a 9-month-old that is currently kind of going everywhere around our living room. But it looks like he's actually going to join us, if that's okay. And
that's totally okay. We're happy to have a special guest here. So I forgot to mention, you guys are proud parents of Gunner.
Yeah, here he is. This is Gunner Owen Alexander Tuscany. He is a healthy 9-month-old baby who has currently found that everything in the world is funny. That is his biggest thing right now, is that you can laugh and he will laugh right back at you. And that's his big thing. Do you want to just talk? Here, why don't you talk?
He can. I think he's probably the only one that finds me actually funny, so this is probably good to have him on here.
Yeah. And then obviously his beautiful mother.
He's taller than me, apparently.
Yeah, he's getting big. I love this. Oh my God.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thanks for coming on here. So you've been up all morning. Is it time for you guys to actually put him to sleep soon so you can have a normal life for a second?
He's going to go down in the next 30, so I might have to bail.
Oh, it's so good.
He woke up sometime around 5:30 this morning, then slept all the way after Mom hung out with him for a little bit. He then slept till about 8:20. I got home from a mountain bike ride, walked in the door, and someone was ready to say hello. So it was good.
That's good. You know, Kelly says Gunner and Nell need to hang out together, so let's make a little play date for that.
1,000% on that one. I think that is a huge yes.
Exactly. Yeah, so actually, before we get started, too, I wanted to say, so actually one of our grant recipients, one of your athletes, Jordan Anderson, got his mountain bike stolen last week. And so I know you helped them work out with that, but I just wanted to say, if anyone knows or hears anything, I want to put that out there, because that really sucks, and really upset to hear about that.
Yeah, I think that, I got a lot of comments back from some people, many not PC, but, first off, why would you want to steal it? And second off, like, how are you going to use it? And third is like, there is such a small market that you could try to sell that to that it's instantly going to get, I mean, it's just like, it's like stealing like that like ever like that egg that, you know, is in, I think it's Ocean's 13 or whatever, that egg.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so elusive. You can't, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know. It's like so disappointing to hear. I know it's just a lot of money, and like, I don't know who's selling that or what they're going to do it or what they're doing with it, but like, please give it back. It's ridiculous. You guys are monsters. Whoever took that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And if I at some point offline, you and I we can talk about the un-PC comments that I got, but I fully believe in what people were saying too. It's just, it's not something you steal.
No, it's not. It's not cool. I know we go a long way to help these individuals out, and it's awful to hear this because we know how life-changing this stuff can be, and it's just so frustrating.
And now I think it's
for that to happen.
I think it's even harder now because obviously KBF and High Fives, like, we still have our grant programs open, but we don't have the access to the funds that we once had to, you know, give these large grants. And when an adaptive mountain bike costs, you know, upwards of almost $15,000, or even some cost more than that now.
It's crazy.
You know, and foundations don't have as much available funds to give. It's only going to put a strain on that community too. So yeah, give the bike back.
Yeah, I agree. So there's a public announcement to the whole world. Please don't do that. That's
yeah.
Not cool. Not cool. So Roy, so I met you, 4 years ago at Mile Ski Camp for development skis for the race team, right? Back at Sugar Bush, which seems like an eternity now, which is crazy.
Just like today, how you've matched your shirt to your lettering of your Durso Dispatch along with the outfit that you're wearing in there.
I knew you were going to notice it. Thank God. Yes.
I mean, I was very much, you know, wanted to be your friend because of your dressing style. You have amazing clothing style, my friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Elena, I got the pleasure to meet you actually for the first time just this past winter at the camp as well. So it was actually a pleasure to finally actually be able to meet you.
Yeah, it was really nice to meet you too, and you bonded with Gunner over barbecue.
Always love the kids; they're so much fun. So it's good.
Yeah, no,
yes.
It's been really cool to be able to travel back east with High Fives and kind of get to meet that whole crew. It's pretty cool. I actually got to meet Kelly Brush for the first time as well. She's so beautiful and so smart. And I, you know, being a new mom was like, hey, I've got 10,000 questions.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys could talk forever about that stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah. So
it's good. Was that your first time on the East Coast? Have you skied over here on the East yet?
I had only skied once at Waterville Valley before this last winter when I skied in Vermont, but I've been back to the East Coast a bunch, New York and Jersey and Rhode Island a fair amount too.
Yeah.
But, the skiing's totally different and not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, yeah, it's pretty bad some days, but every once in a while it's actually pretty decent. So we'll take it from that standpoint. But so how's it out west these days? You guys were at Nevada, right? In Reno?
Yeah, we're in Reno. You know, it's unfortunate that everything got shut down. A lot of people are still in the backcountry and snowmobiling and hiking and stuff. So, yeah, I got like 2 days in here and it was a good fun time, but like I could have used a little bit more.
I'm sure. It's been, and actually following you too on Instagram, it's like I feel like you guys are always literally on airplanes, like always traveling. So this has got to be interesting for you guys to be like grounded for the first time in a long time and spend some time with Gunner. How's that been for you guys?
Yeah, well, we got, I think it was 15 flights in 6 months, his first 6 months of life. So that's like,
so nuts.
That's 15 round trips. So I mean,
round trips,
like number of flights, like, I mean, I imagine he did well north of 50 flights in the first 6 months.
That's why. How did that work?
You know, the first, I guess 4 months were really chill. He was swaddled at the time, and like you zip up that swaddle, and he's just like nap time, which was really nice. Towards the end, he got really mobile and wanted to just move, and that was like playing with a 20-pound medicine ball for like a 4-hour flight. It's pretty tiring, but he did really well, and it was actually a really good time for us to get home, stay grounded, because now we're sleep training and he's got a good schedule and he's sleeping really well. Yeah, that's
all that counts for you guys, I'm sure. So that's awesome. So what have you guys been doing to stay active, like just this whole nonsense going on? What's been, I mean, I'm sure you need to be active, so what have you guys been doing?
Yeah, well, we set up a little workout set. We've got our little workout spot in the backyard. We got AstroTurf and some bands and
That's good.
medicine balls and a Boso ball. And then, we can work out inside as well. And me and Roy have been pretty motivating for each other, just going out there after bedtime and working pretty hard. But it's crazy how sore you get after you haven't worked out in a long time.
Yeah.
And then Roy got a new mountain bike, which is pretty sick. He
Yeah, I
got
want
a
to hear about
new,
this little toy.
yeah.
Yeah, I just got a new, e-assist bike that, for me, there's obviously a big movement right now for folks and e-bikes and people saying how they're not good for the sport. And I think, like, you know what? I think they're really good for people that have a disability that can find a really great benefit from them. And for me, I go out biking and it feels like what biking was prior. The little bit of, boost motor that it has on there just makes it feel like what my legs should be producing. Because I'll tell you what, like, these cripple legs do not push a bike very well at all. And, for years, I've tried everything. I had, for a long time, a normal bike that my buddies would pull me up on, and that's just tiring. Then I went to this e-drive bike, and it was just like an electric dirt bike. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for some type of way to increase the heart rate and also really work on balance. And so, lucky for me, kind of, a professional mountain biker sustained a spinal cord injury. Many of you have probably seen the film Any One of Us of Paul Bassagosha that got hurt at Red Bull Rampage. Paul's still a professional mountain biker, still wants to be involved. And for me, he basically created a bike for a semi-walking paraplegic. And like I said, lucky for me, that is the positive out of the negative out of Paul's accident.
Yeah.
Is that he's able now to provide a bike for a demographic of folks that usually would never get any attention.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So you're kind of like an anomaly or a unicorn in essence, right? Like you're a walking paraplegic. So like, just for the audience out there, like, what is that kind of like, and what kind of adaptive sports equipment that you use that are like different than what I would or Elena would use from that standpoint?
I think for me, man, is like the best way to explain my situation is like, it's a little bit of religious based, but it's like, it's purgatory. It's not heaven. It's not hell idea. It's like, I'm stuck in this middle. It's like, sometimes I'm defined as able, sometimes I'm defined as adaptive. It's this really weird space. But at the end of the day, like, I'm really bad at walking. Yes, I can walk, but it's not a great gait. It's also super hard on my body. My hips, my lower back, especially my ankles are constantly inflamed just from this bad gait training that I have. But then, for me, I've got to use e-assist for anything that it requires power out of my legs because I can't generate power. Like I have no power. But then, surfing, Elena and I both surf the same way. We both wave ski because I have no chance of standing on a surfboard. I just don't have the ability to. So there's a lot of places where I kind of like teeter back and forth. It's like when we go skiing, I four-track compared to, yourself who sit skis or Elena that sit skis. But at the end of the day, like, I really wish I just knew how to sit ski. But I've been four-tracking for so long that it's like, I don't really want to learn a new sport is what it like really comes down to.
Oh,
but I would enjoy skiing so much more if I was in a mono ski.
just hop in Elena's bucket. It'll be fine. You'll be good.
Yeah. I think her sit ski's a little advanced for me. I would need to start with something that's a little softer, I think, and a little, I don't know. She's a little too good at sit skiing, in my opinion. She's amazing, actually.
She is. It's pretty incredible. And then, so honestly, for you guys, it'd be cool to just hear about a little about your stories, kind of how you got injured and how you got into adaptive sports and what adaptive sports actually means to you guys, like individually.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing is we actually have the same level of injury, and he walks and I am feeling. So.
Oh, really? I don't think I even knew that.
Yeah, we're both T12 incomplete. So that's kind of in a nutshell how spinal cord injuries work. Like, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
But I broke my back when I was 17. I was out backcountry snowboarding and over-rotated a backflip, landed on a rock, shattered T11, T10, 11, and 12, and was more or less completely paralyzed upon impact. And then I got some function back below my waist. So I'm lucky to have my hip flexors and all of my core, and that really did help me a lot as an adaptive athlete. I didn't really know about adaptive sports until about 2 years after my injury in 2002, because, as you know, that was before Instagram, Facebook, and I
Yeah.
Kelly Brush, and there weren't a lot of resources, so it was a really hard time. Like, I was a 3-sport athlete before my injury, and now that when people get injured, there's like high fives or Kelly Brushes at their door, like ready to support. So it took me a while to figure it out, but once I did and started with wheelchair basketball, it helps so much to get into a crew of people that know what you're going through and that are pushing their bodies the best they can. And I learned about the Paralympics, and that was a game changer. Pardon the pun. That was a good one. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was good. Especially for you.
Yeah, and then I just started setting these ridiculous goals. I wanted to go to a bunch of Paralympic games and ended up at, 5 different games with 6 medals and had a really great career. It was amazing.
I mean, like, do you feel like having like adaptive sports in your life, it kind of transcended like to where you are today? Like it kind of moved, like it wasn't just a sport, like it got you to like have an identity and who you actually really are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up in northern New Mexico. My grandparents raised me. They got me into sports at 5 years old. So I identified as an athlete, from a young age. And when I lost that after my injury, I just I didn't know who I was, and I had no confidence in there's so many positive byproducts of sport, but what happens is you set goals and achieve them, and one after the other, you build confidence in all areas of your life. And I didn't care about school. I didn't really have hope for my future. And then I started playing basketball and was like,
Wow.
oh, I'm ready to take on the world, because I get to work out. And that was really what changed it all for me.
I mean, is everything like a big blur for you now? Like with everything you've done, have you can you actually go back and reflect on it a little bit, or are you kind of just like all over the place? It's like
it does seem like a different life. Like that whole chapter was so much fun. I mean, I traveled the world as a ski racer, basketball player, and a sprint kayaker for the better part of 12 or 15 years. And it was such an incredible life. Like I found myself, on top of the Italian Alps, this is my office today, and ski racing was intense and hard and so rewarding. And it does seem kind of like a blur, but I really love reminiscing on that time. Just thinking about it makes me happy.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, do you have any amazing favorite moments, or what was your favorite games that you were at? Did anything stand out to you like that?
I mean, every game's, I kind of compare it to having children, although I only have one. It's hard to pick a favorite, but, in Beijing, we won the gold undefeated, and that was, so cool in its own right because we got 12 women all on the same page to compete and win, and you think about how only 1% of the world or less than 1% of the world gets to win a gold medal, really special. And then, I switched sports and turned around in 2 years and went to Vancouver and won 4 medals. And it was just bananas. I'm how is this my life? I made history.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually remember Chris Young at the ski camp when we first met was when I was asking him, is it feasible to actually pick up ski racing and get to the Olympics that fast? And he goes, I've only met one person in my entire life that's actually been able to do that. And he was talking about you. And he was I've never seen anyone else be able to go on a stage like that and become so good so fast. So Alana, it's so impressive to see you be able to do that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I felt really fortunate, but there was a lot of hard work and pain and sweat and tears that went into it. So
yeah.
I loved it, but I'm not going to lie. If I tried to do that now, it'd be a disaster. So kudos to Chris Young, who ski raced well into his 40s,
Yeah, it's crazy. It is. And Roy, same to you, man. So what was it like? What was your story? How did you get into adaptive sports, and what does that mean to you, and how's that kind of shaped your life since your injury?
Yeah, I mean, when I got hurt in 06, from overshooting a jump in Mammoth, I went 130 feet on a 100-foot jump, came down from 30 feet in the air, and the burst fracture of my T12 vertebrae was from the impact into the snow. but at that time, man, like it was really weird. You know, I didn't, let's just say the folks that I got mentored from the hospital with, like, did not provide me with any type of positive influence into the adaptive sports world. So when I left, you know, kind of rehab and everything, I was just like, well, I'm going to figure things out able-bodied. And I did a lot of stuff on my own. And I'll remember the first time I tried to go skiing again, 2 years after my accident. Normal boots, normal skis, normal everything, just my old gear. And like the amount of things that I had to do just to get my ski boots on and to get my skis on, by the time I got on the lift, I was already exhausted. By the time I got to the top of the lift, I only had my buddies with me. I didn't have any adaptive instructors. I didn't have anything adaptive. I couldn't get off the chairlift. I hadn't learned that the chairlift will bump and you can automatically, you know, before I just stood right up and went skiing. And so like getting off the lift for that first time in 08, you know, and then going down the hill, I couldn't turn. I couldn't stop. I could barely stand. And now I'm on top of the hill with no adaptive instructors, my buddies, and me trying to ski like I did prior to my injury. Let's just say absolute failure. Lucky for me, I got to meet, you know, who I think is, I don't think he'll appreciate the term, but I really believe it is the term. He is the godfather of adaptive sports, and his name's Bill Boness. Bill is an amazing human. He lives right here in Truckee, California, and his wife, Denise, is certified in adaptive water ski, adaptive ski. I mean, anything adaptive she is certified in, and she is just like heart of gold. And so the Bonesses were really the first people that ever showed me what adaptive sports looked like. But it goes back to what Elena said, was that, you know, when I got hurt in 06, and in that time, there wasn't many outlets to see what was possible. It was a lot, like, I'll never forget it. Like, one of the things was like, you can go fishing now. It's like,
I don't want to go fishing.
Before, like, this isn't adaptive. This is just fishing. And so, you know, that to me was not a lot of it. And, you know, I think it took people like Kelly and myself to say, hey, like, we're athletes, and like we want to be able to showcase what not only ourselves do, but this world that we're a part of now, and by lifting it up. And you know, when I met Elena in 2010, I'll never forget it. She had just come off of Vancouver, and she leaves Vancouver, shows up at what was Ski Spec, right? Or is it Ski Tam? So it was Ski Tam at the time. She shows up, and she is just like rock star, you know, most famous person. She's got more gold medals than anyone in the world.
Roy was already in love.
I met her in the lobby, and it was just like at that time, I feel like, you know, people started to take notice. And then ever since then, you know, Josh Dewick's backflip, I think, is one of those moments. I also think that, you know, folks like Trevor Kennison, who has absolutely taken a storm of way it is, but I think it took foundations like Kelly Brush and High Fives to really say, hey, this is what's possible. We know there's barriers to entry, and we're not going to say we're not going to say, hey, we're going to show you instruction. Hey, we're going to show you how to do this.
Right.
We're going to give you access so that on Tuesday at 5:15, if your friend says, let's go for a mountain bike ride, you have the equipment to go mountain bike ride. And if you're Jordan Anderson's friend, bring back those bikes to Jordan so he can do that with his friends. But I think that was, you know, a big turning point, was that, you know, KBF and High Five started to say, hey, one of the biggest barriers to entry to adaptive sports is money. And it's not up to everybody to have the funds available to get these pieces of equipment. We need to have sources that will provide folks who are already recovering, rehabbing, healing, all those things. Well, let's not put this barrier that's just money, because there's plenty of money in the world. We just need to figure out the correct ways to source it, and then the best ways to distribute it and do good with it. And I'll tell you what, the number of active grants that you guys give and the number of people that get funds from you guys is just, it's huge, because no one could do this alone. And, you know, Challenge Athletes Foundation, High Fives, Kelly Brush, those are really the outlets that are providing funds. And it's, you know, like, just how much fun do we have when, like, we're skiing? It's
the best. I mean, like, I wouldn't be where I am, like, right now talking to you guys if Kelly hadn't started the foundation, or like met you guys and be able to hang out with you guys if you didn't do what you guys were doing. And I mean, I should say I'm lucky I got hurt in 2009, and, you know, both your organizations had existed. But I mean, that's how I got into adaptive sports. That's how my life is where I am now. I would never be my life wouldn't be surrounded by this if it wasn't for like for Kelly and what you guys do. So it's pretty crazy, and we're so pumped to be a part of it and be there and help people out, because I know like the opportunities that I have had, opportunities that you and Elena had, like you just want to have those, you want to give back those opportunities to everybody else, because it just helps you thrive so much. It's like more than just a sport, right? It's more like, yeah, it's great being out there on the mountain with your friends and skiing, but like, you know, that feeling when you're up there, it's just like, it's almost, you can't describe it. It's like, it's so important to you. And to show other people with it, with a spinal cord injury, not just like your friends, and show that what's possible and be out there with everyone else and have that, you know, hoot and holler in time is honestly the best.
Yeah, I think two things that KBF and High Fives has done really well that didn't exist prior to these foundations was that, you know, people would learn how to ski with these great programs or learn how to do adaptive mountain bike. Let's just talk about Vermont Adaptive for a second, because they are absolutely the best in the business when it comes to getting people back out into sport. But the one barrier that exists for them is that, I had it happen to me, is like, when I first went and did four tracking, oh my God, this was amazing. But every single time I've got to pay $50 to rent these four tracks from the local place. It's like, that's that barrier. Well, what after 5 times if it's like, hey, I don't need instruction anymore. All I need is equipment, and that's that barrier. Well, that's a huge burden for people to try to take. And now it's like, not only is Vermont Adaptive and other great point, NSCD and all the others across the country.
They've got their programs out there.
Yeah, they're getting people, but that barrier that existed, okay, you got to this point, you now deserve your own equipment, but how are you going to afford it? Well, real quick, you got to look to someone else that can source that. And what Kelly has been able to accomplish, and now the team with yourself involved there at KBF, what myself and the team at High Five has been able to do is we've been able, I bet, you know, between the two of us, I mean, I know we've given $4.3 million in 11 years out the doors. The numbers either very similar or higher from what KBF has given out. Think about that dollars right there, and think about how that's been extensions of these adaptive programs. That's like, those are like the mind-blowing moments to me, that it's like, you know, do you love the impact that you've been able to do? Yeah, but it's like, it's the force multipliers. Okay, KBF's given this much and it's gotten this many, and then it keeps growing. It's just like force multiplying is the
it's so good. And just having those networks just branch out and creating more people opportunities, people to do things. It's honestly, it's super awesome. Has anyone actually ever asked you guys, like, do you regret your injuries at all? Has anyone ever asked you guys that?
Yeah, I think Elena gets asked that almost every single time she gets an interview.
Does she? There you go.
I like to say that it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because that's a shocking thing for people to hear. But it's also true. I mean, you know, a lot of people are going through this really hard time with COVID-19, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it is amazing how some of the hardest moments in our lives can really turn out to be the best things. You know, it causes a huge shift in your life, but it could also be really important catalyst for change too. So, yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. If you asked me if I wanted to walk like tomorrow for fun, I would say yes, for sure. Like, I would Forrest Gump that so hard and just start running like across the country.
No, it's, you know, I agree too. Some people like always are surprised when I say that too as well. It's just like, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I love what I'm doing. I mean, I'm sure you two probably wouldn't even have met or had Gunnar had you not had your accidents, which is crazy to think about. And I know, like, from that standpoint, and how happy you guys are, and I know how happy I am with what I'm doing and what we're trying to do. So it's so interesting to hear your perspective on that and how that's working. And especially now, Lena, so like, what are you up to now as the new president of the Women's Sports Foundation? I'd love to hear more about this.
Yeah, well, I have been involved with the Women's Sports Foundation for about 7 years. I was on the board for about 6 prior to being nominated for the presidency this year. As you know, the organization was started by Billie Jean King, and, you know, it's a dream come true to be just involved with her, but to sit at a board table with her and to talk about creating equality for girls and women in sports is like a dream come true for sure. And a lot of what we do is research based. We are based out of New York, but the staff at the Women's Sports Foundation puts a lot of resources into figuring out what the numbers look like, why, you know, participation numbers are dropping for young girls sports.
Mm-hmm.
why there's not equal representation or, you know, pay for women in professional sports. Everything in between. We advocate a lot for Title IX, and enforce that at the collegiate level. And our work is never ending, but we are making progress, and it's an exciting time for women in sports. I know a lot of what people are experiencing with COVID-19 feels like a huge setback, and it is. A lot of women were, you know, really relying on contracts for this season in
Right.
whatever sports they're playing to pay the bills, and that's really hard. And we also give out travel and training grants as well for able-bodied and disabled women. So if anybody's looking for more money to continue doing what they love, that's a great resource. And
It's awesome. It's really good to know. Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, the coolest thing about Billie Jean King is she's never going to be happy with the crumbs and, you know, whatever society's trying to say women deserve. Like, she wants equality, and she's dreaming big about professional sports. She wants professional football league for women, professional baseball league for women.
So cool.
It's just like, it's inspiring to be around her for sure.
That's really great, actually. You guys are doing some awesome work, so kudos to you for doing that as well. And it's paving the way for these girls, because I know how important it is. And then especially with in the spinal cord injury like area, with this, it's mostly guys, right? So it's not many girls out there that are adaptive. So it's great to try to get them and rally them around.
Yeah.
Good cause anyway from that standpoint. So it's awesome. I'm sure you've been a hot commodity lately with everything that's been going on, and your story is incredible. So I'm sure you've probably done like 20 podcasts now. I saw that you're on with Sophie last night or this morning.
Yeah.
All the way from across the pond from that area. So
yeah, I love Sophie. I did a podcast with the women that wrote the book The Rebound, which is about injured athletes. So yeah, lots of podcasting. It's been really fun.
Do you enjoy it? You enjoy talking about it and helping everything out like that stuff?
Yeah, I do, for sure.
Great. Actually, I have one more question. I know it's been half an hour. One more question I want to ask you, Elena. I know just like some diversity. I know that like you had so much success, like going to these Olympics and all that other stuff. I know you were going for a sixth one in racing. I know you had a pretty hard crash, and I think with qualifying, right, to try to make it to the sixth Olympic and pay it in South Korea. Like, what was a little bit of experience about having that happen and kind of failing? Just because I know from my own experience from trying to do the Lake Placid Ironman and training so hard for that, and then finishing the first two legs of it, and then not letting me able to go out in the runs. I came back like a hair too late. It's pretty devastating. So I'm just curious to what you from adversity from that standpoint, what that was like for you.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine you felt a lot of the same feelings. You really have to mourn your loss. You know, there's grief involved. And when I was training for Pyeongchang, I mean, I had just gotten off of I finished going to Rio and was training really hard for sprint kayak. And I mean, I've never been in better shape. That sport was so hard, and it never got easy for me. I'm not an endurance athlete, and it was just such a struggle. But, you know, my core was never stronger. My shoulders were so strong. And I just thought, I still got it. I still want it. I'm going to try for Pyeongchang, and I'm going to go for it. So, you know, I was training really well in the early season of 2017 into 2018. I was skiing well. I was ripping. And I got up to Canada to qualify in downhill. It was the first downhill training run. I didn't need to be going as fast as I was. But I also had a piece of equipment that wasn't really working for me. I had a fairing on my monoski that was too tight, so I wasn't really shifting my knees.
It's been stuck underneath, yeah. You're on Corey's monoski, right?
No, I was on mine.
It was yours?
I had just gotten a new fairing that just was too tight, and I hadn't had enough time to really work with that. So I hit a piece of terrain, and I caught a lot of air, and I couldn't land it, and I just literally skidded to a stop on my face. Got like my 8th concussion, and the only chance I had to qualify was the next day in the race. So I had to make a really hard decision, and I prioritized my health and my brain health, which, you know, in this community, you know, a lot of brain injured folks I wasn't willing to compromise and sacrifice, and it was a really important decision because I was done with my career and I was prioritizing my health, and it was really empowering, but it was really hard at the time.
That's such a crazy story, and I know I can't even imagine what it's like to say like, no, I can't do this anymore after like it's been like a part of your life and a part of your heart and part of who you are forever. So I'm sure that's a incredibly tough decision. So I'm happy you're still here and doing all this stuff. So it's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for knowing that story. It was tough, but it opened the next chapter in my life, which was motherhood, and got that little guy.
Yeah, and here you guys are now. Love at first sight with you two, I bet. So I'm glad that all worked out because this is it's so awesome having you two together and doing all this stuff. But I don't want to let you guys stay on too long. You have any last words or anything like that? Or Roy, you want to tell your funny story about how I witnessed you marry somebody in an igloo at the top of a Boston hotel outside?
You did put that in the welcome. I mean, that is Greg, I truthfully, we've gotten to have probably like 15 moments together in life since we live across the country, and we met 4 years ago. But dude, I think I remember every single time we've hung out. One is because I have such an infatuation with your clothing. The second is that we've had some pretty amazing times together.
Always, man. We're always having fun.
The one I think that is so crazy was the one that you just referenced. 2 years ago, we were in Boston together at the what's the name of that? Is that the Envoy?
Yeah, I think it was the Envoy Hotel. I honestly can't remember the name of it.
Okay, hey, real quick, everybody. Gunner's got to take a nap.
Bye, Gunner. Bye, Elena. Thanks for joining us.
And I'll finish with this story.
Yeah.
So we were at the Envoy Hotel, the igloo party. They have those awesome igloos. Long Trail cabin event benefiting the foundation. And two people, they were from Florida. They had come to town. They wanted to get married. They had gotten their marriage certificate, but they had not, they couldn't get into a church or something. And I was like, hey guys, like, here's the deal. I'm an ordained minister. I can perform your wedding right now in this igloo. They didn't even have rings. The mom gave up a ring for the daughter. And I think Ron Nardoni, who's one of my good friends, gave up a ring for the man. And lo and behold, I think, Greg, you were the official witness.
I was. I had a beer and a piece of cheese in the back of the tent watching this go down.
Yeah. And lo and behold, I married two people up there. And I've actually stayed in touch with them. They're still married.
Have you really?
Yeah, I text with him every once in a while.
Oh my
I can't
God.
get his name off the top of my phone, off the top of my head, because in his phone it is Boston Igloo Wedding Guy. But I can't think of his name off the top. But I mean, that's a pretty good title because that is who you are. You are a Boston Igloo Wedding Guy. I mean, that's what it was.
This just happened. I can't believe I just witnessed this. It's like, what is happening?
And I've got more moments like that as well, and we could take up hours of me telling my crazy stories. But
sure.
At the end of the day, Greg, I think one of the coolest things that has happened is yourself getting involved with Kelly Brush and her mission. I think Kelly and that staff has done an amazing job, and now to have an extension of another individual like yourself, an athlete, an ambassador, a professional business person. There's so many characteristics that you have that I think it's just really great to have that now in KBF and allowing Kelly to be a mom and she's a PA. Is she a PA or?
Yeah, she's a nurse practitioner. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So an MP. Sorry, I don't want to get it wrong.
No. Yeah.
It allows Kelly to still do that, but still do that, and having yourself be a big thing, and then what you're able to do working alongside Zeke. It's awesome.
Don't make me blush, cool. Roy. Jeez, come on. People aren't here.
I just think, man, you got to think of it like we have a really great job of like bringing the country together from the support from the West of high fives. And yeah, we do stuff in Vermont because of my roots there, but it's really this collective energy, and it's force multiplying, and it's allowing, there's nothing more that excites me more than when someone's like, hey, I need $3,500 for this $10,000 piece of equipment. I already have $3,500 from KBF. I already have $3,500 from Catholic Times.
Yeah.
That's usually how it happened. And it's like, oh my God, you've gone out of your way to secure these funds so that you can get the equipment you want. Yes, that is the type. Let's force multiply. Let's get this piece of equipment and go.
It's like, so great to be able to do that with you guys.
When I see KBF has already awarded me, I'm like, boom, you're in. Let's go.
Exactly. Well, Roy, man, this has been a real pleasure, and I'm so happy you came on here with me and Elena and shared Gunner with the world. So thank you so much, and thank you for doing what you guys do, and I can't wait for more good times with you in the future. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, my man.
I'll make sure I look it out for you the next time I see you.
All right, buddy.
Take it easy,
bye,
guys.
guys.
Later.